A person does not lose in life on the day they fall. A person does not lose on the day they are abandoned. A person does not even lose on the day their hard work goes unrewarded. Real defeat begins on the day a person accepts inside themselves that this is it, that they cannot go any further, that they are tired, that this is their fate. That is the moment decline truly begins, because a person who falls can rise again, but a person who stops slowly destroys themselves from within. This world never defeats the person who keeps moving. No matter how harsh the circumstances are, no matter how closed the paths may seem, if a person's steps are still moving forward, time eventually creates a way. But when someone stops trying, time stops for them as well. Opportunities stop. Destiny falls silent. People say that luck is not supporting them, when in reality they are the ones who let go of destiny's hand. Today, most people have already lost mentally, even though they are physically fine. They go to work, they talk, they laugh, but inside they are empty. The fire that once pushed them forward has died out, not because they failed, but because they convinced themselves that further effort is useless. This way of thinking slowly breaks a person from the inside. No great person became great because their circumstances were easy. They became great because they refused to stop even in the worst conditions. Look at history. Every person who stands as an example today had days when everything was against them, when paths were blocked, when people mocked them, when failure knocked again and again at their door. The only difference was that they did not accept stopping. Stopping is not a decision made in a single moment. It develops gradually within a person. First, effort decreases. Then excuses appear. Then self-comfort replaces discipline. And finally, the person convinces themselves that this was their limit. In that moment, a person murders their own potential, because true strength does not lie in circumstances, it lies in courage. Many people say that if they had resources, they would have done something, if they had support, they would have moved forward, if the timing were right, they would have succeeded. But the truth is that resources come to those who keep moving, support comes to those who keep trying, and time changes only for those who refuse to give up. When a person stops, they slowly begin to fear their own dreams. They plant the belief inside themselves that dreaming is pointless, that hard work is foolish, and that moving forward is only for special people. This mindset does not make them ordinary, it makes them powerless. Because an ordinary person can become exceptional through effort, but a powerless person, no matter how talented, never moves ahead. The real test in life is not difficult times. The real test is the moment when a person has every justification to stop. When circumstances are screaming that it is enough, when the heart is exhausted, when the mind says to quit, if a person takes just one more step in that moment, that single step can change their destiny. But most people stop right there, and then spend the rest of their lives blaming that very moment. Remember this truth. The world does not care how many times you fall. The world only notices how many times you stop. Those who fall are forgotten, but those who stop are never forgiven by history. A person who keeps moving, even slowly, eventually reaches the destination. But the one who stops, no matter how close they are, loses. When a person grows tired while moving forward, it is not their feet that stop first, it is their mind. The body is often still capable of moving, but the moment the mind accepts that it cannot go any further, the person collapses. Right there. This is the point where most people declare themselves defeated, even though in reality they are still standing in the middle of the field, not fully defeated and not victorious either. But they make one wrong decision, and that decision is to stop. Fatigue is a part of life. The problem is not exhaustion, The problem is when a person uses exhaustion as an excuse. They tell themselves that they have already tried enough, worked hard enough, and can do no more. Yet if they were honest with themselves, they would have to admit that they gave less than they were capable of. But instead of facing the truth, people prefer comforting lies, and those lies slowly push them toward stopping. Excuses do not appear on their own, people create them. When someone wants to move forward, they find a way. When they want to stop, they find a reason. Sometimes they blame circumstances, sometimes people, sometimes timing, and sometimes fate. But behind all of these lies one single truth: running away from responsibility. Because admitting, "I stopped," is much easier than admitting, "I was afraid." Fear rarely tells a person directly to stop. Fear is clever. It convinces people that they are being sensible, realistic, and cautious. It plants the belief that trying again is foolish, falling again is humiliation, and failing repeatedly is weakness. In reality, the truth is the complete opposite. Weakness is not falling down, weakness is refusing to stand back up. Many people say they have already waited long enough and endured enough, and that they cannot continue anymore. What they fail to realize is that the people they admire today waited longer, endured more, and broke themselves far deeper. The only difference was that they never gave themselves permission to stop. They made a promise to themselves that no matter how slow the pace was and no matter how invisible the results were, the journey would not stop. A person's greatest enemy is not outside them, it lives inside them. It is the voice that says quit, the voice that says enough, the voice that says you are not capable. This voice always appears when a person is close to a limit, because before every major transformation, intense discomfort arises. Most people mistake this discomfort for danger, when in reality it is a sign of growth. Some people fall behind because they never tried, but most people fall behind because they quit halfway. They began the journey but stopped just short of the destination. They worked hard but lost courage right before results appeared. Then they spend their entire lives saying that fate did not support them, when the truth is that they abandoned the test before fate could finish it. It is crucial to understand that everyone gets tired, everyone breaks, and everyone reaches a point where they think, "This is enough." The difference between success and failure lies here. Successful people keep moving despite that thought, while unsuccessful people turn that thought into a final decision. They treat a temporary condition as a permanent ending, and that single mistake weighs down their entire life. When a person stops, they do not simply stop moving forward, they slowly begin moving backward. The world crushes what stands still. Time waits for no one, opportunities do not pause, and circumstances forgive no one. If you remain standing in one place, the world will pass over you, and one day you will look around in disbelief as everyone moves ahead while you remain exactly where you were. In life, there inevitably comes a time when pressure starts closing in from every direction. Family begins to question you, friends start offering advice, society mocks you, and circumstances surround you from all sides. At this stage, the most dangerous thing is not failure itself, but the loneliness that quietly grows inside a person. Because when someone starts feeling alone, their courage begins to weaken silently, and they move closer to the decision of stopping altogether. Many people believe that successful individuals are never alone, but the truth is that the journey before success is almost always walked in loneliness. Very few people stand beside you at that time, and most either do not understand you or do not believe in you. This is the stage where doubt begins to grow inside a person, making them question whether they are even on the right path. When this doubt becomes strong, steps begin to shake, and once steps start trembling, stopping becomes easy. When a person works relentlessly and sees no visible results, a strange kind of exhaustion settles into the heart. This is not physical fatigue, it is the fatigue of hope. A person begins to ask questions like, when will things change? When will my time come? When will my hard work finally pay off? When these questions remain unanswered, disappointment is born, and disappointment always pulls a person toward stopping. This is the turning point where most people give up. They say, perhaps this was never written in my destiny, perhaps I am not capable enough, perhaps I overestimated myself. But the reality is that they are often standing at the exact place where the road to success is about to begin. Success usually arrives quietly, and those who are addicted to noise mistake that silence for failure. Pressure convinces a person that stepping back is the wiser option. Society makes it seem like choosing a safe path is intelligence, taking risks is foolishness, and thinking differently is dangerous. But history is proof that the world was never changed by those who walked only on safe paths. The world was changed by those who did not stop despite pressure, who continued their journey despite loneliness, and who moved forward despite fear. Many people say that if someone had stood by them, they would not have stopped. But the truth is that real support does not come from outside, it comes from within. When a person loses faith in themselves, even 1,000 people standing beside them cannot stop them from quitting. And when a person believes in themselves, even solitude turns into an army. That is why, before success, a person must fight themselves, because the greatest battle is always fought within. The hardest phase of life is when a person has to decide whether to bow before circumstances or stand firm on their principles. This is the moment when two paths appear, one that is easy, safe, and limited, and another that is difficult, uncertain, but vast. Most people choose the easy path because it offers temporary comfort, but that comfort later turns into the greatest restlessness, because for the rest of their lives they keep wondering, if I had not stopped that day, maybe my life would be something entirely different today. Loneliness does not weaken a person if they understand it. In reality, loneliness gives a person the opportunity to meet themselves. It is the time when one can recognize their true strength, on the condition that they do not run away from it. Those who fear loneliness stop, and those who endure it grow stronger. It is important to remember that pressure always falls on those who are trying to do something different. No one questions those who walk with the crowd. Fingers are always pointed at the one who dares to change direction. If today you are being questioned, if today you feel alone, if today's circumstances are testing you, it does not mean you are wrong. It means you are not ordinary. The final turn in life is always the hardest, because at that point a person is the most exhausted, the most lonely, and the most filled with doubt, but it is also the turn from which a person either makes history or becomes just another ordinary story. The difference lies in a single decision, the decision to stop, or to keep moving forward. There comes a stage in life where a person stands face to face with their greatest enemy, and that enemy is neither circumstances nor people, it is fear. Fear cannot be seen, yet it forces decisions. It does not shout, yet it stops a person's steps. On the surface, fear appears to protect a person, but from the inside it hollows them out, because the greatest weapon fear possesses is its ability to convince a person to stop. Fear rarely says, do not move forward. More often, it says, pause for a moment, think a little, this is not the right time yet, let conditions improve and then we'll see. This is the deception most people fall into. They believe they are being wise, while in reality they are postponing their courage. And whatever keeps getting postponed eventually fades away. Risk is a law of life, yet people run from risk as if it were a crime. The truth is that a person who does not take risks has already accepted defeat, because safe paths only guarantee survival, not success. Success always passes through uncertain roads, and anyone who cannot tolerate uncertainty can never become something great. Many people say they are afraid of what will happen if they fail. But they never stop to think about what will happen if they stop. Failure can teach a person, strengthen them, and show them a new direction. But stopping gives a person only one thing: regret. And regret is a poison that slowly destroys a person from within. Belief in oneself is not a gift given at birth, it is built through action. When a person takes a step despite fear, their belief becomes a little stronger. Then comes another step, and slowly that belief forms what the world calls confidence. But the person who never takes the first step spends their entire life waiting for confidence to arrive, not realizing that confidence comes after action, not before it. Many people do not lose because they are weak, they lose because they accept themselves as weak. They plant a story inside themselves that says, "I am ordinary, I am not special, I cannot do this." The truth is that no one in this world is born special. The one who becomes special is the one who refuses to accept being ordinary. The person who decides that no matter how long it takes, no matter how difficult the path is, they will not stop, that person slowly transforms from ordinary into extraordinary. Fear has another face as well, and that is the fear of people's opinions. What will people say? What if I fail? What if I become a joke? But the reality is that people talk in every situation. They talk when you stop, and they talk when you move forward. The only difference is that when you stop, their words break you, and when you keep moving, those same words eventually fall silent. It is important to understand that believing in yourself does not mean you will not feel fear. Believing in yourself means that despite fear, you will not stop. Courage is not the absence of fear, courage is moving forward with fear. And once a person learns this, nothing can stop them. Before every major turning point in life, fear always appears. This fear is actually a signal that you are about to step beyond your limits. But most people mistake this signal for danger and turn back. Those who endure this fear move ahead, and then the world calls them brave, even though they were afraid to. The only difference is that they refused to stop. The hardest thing in life is not working hard. The hardest thing is continuing to work hard when your effort is not visible. Because a person's heart breaks at the moment when they are giving everything they have, yet receiving nothing in return. This is the stage where most people lose courage, not because they are weak, but because they fail to understand the nature and pace of time. Time never moves according to a person's impatience. Time works quietly, observing who is truly serious and who has arrived with temporary excitement. Those who chase only results get tired quickly, while those who remain loyal to action slowly grow stronger. That is why silent hard work often goes unnoticed, but when its result finally appears, it makes noise on its own. Many people complain that they have been working for years and nothing has changed. What they fail to see is how much they themselves have changed internally. They have become stronger than before, wiser than before, and more resilient than before. These changes are invisible, but they are the very foundation of real success. A person who reaches the top without these foundations cannot remain there for long. Patience is often mistaken for weakness, when in reality patience is the greatest strength. Patience does not mean doing nothing. Patience means working with full intensity without forcing time to deliver results prematurely. A person who learns patience does not fight time, they walk alongside it. And time always supports those who understand its rhythm. There comes a phase in life when a person feels that everyone else has moved ahead and they have been left behind. This comparison eats a person from the inside. They forget that every individual's journey is different, every person's timing is different, and every test in life is different. Those who apply other people's timelines to their own lives either make rushed decisions or become hopeless and stop altogether. The greatest test of silent hard work is that it comes without applause, without appreciation, and often with criticism instead. People question you, doubt you, and sometimes even mock you. But this is the moment when a person's true character is revealed. The one who can work without praise is the one who is truly strong, because they are not working for people, they are working for their purpose. It is also important to remember that time does not always come to break a person, often, time comes to prepare them. It is shaping a person so that when success arrives, they are capable of handling it. Those who rise too quickly often fall just as fast, because they lack the depth needed to hold themselves steady during difficult moments. Many people stop at the final stage. They say they have waited long enough and cannot wait anymore. In reality, they are often just a few steps away. This is the moment where patience and courage test each other. The one who endures this moment enters the next phase, and the one who stops here loses the value of all their previous effort. Silent hard work keeps a person simple on the outside but turns them into steel on the inside. It keeps them away from noise yet brings them closer to their goal. And one day, when the time finally arrives, that same quiet person accomplishes something no one even expected. On that day, people say it happened suddenly, unaware that years of unseen effort were hidden behind it. Life eventually brings a person to a point where the time for learning more, listening more, and thinking more comes to an end, and only one thing remains: a decision. This decision is not made in front of anyone else, it is made in front of yourself. This is the moment where a person either lays down the burden of their entire life or loads their shoulders with a lifetime of regret. Because if a person stops even at this point, they are left with nothing to say except that fate did not support them. The truth is that fate is never against a person, fate simply does not stand with someone who abandons themselves. A person who constantly complains is actually running away from responsibility. Admitting that circumstances defeated me feels easier than admitting that I lost courage. Yet true strength lies in accepting this truth, because without accepting the truth, a person cannot move forward. In life, people repeat the same mistake again and again. They believe that one day everything will fix itself, that circumstances will change, that time will suddenly become kind. But the reality is that time only changes for those who have the courage to change themselves. A person who postpones everything to tomorrow is slowly burying their dreams, because tomorrow never arrives, only today does. And if today is wasted, nothing remains. This final stage is where a person must free themselves even from their past. Past mistakes, past failures, and past experiences will hold a person back if they are allowed to. Someone who keeps turning around to look behind cannot walk straight ahead. Learning from the past is wisdom, but living in the past is self-destruction. To move forward, certain things must be left where they have already ended. Success in life is not a final station, success is actually a new beginning. The person who believes they have reached the destination stops there, and the one who stops slowly begins to fall. That is why the truly successful person is the one who asks themselves after every success, what is the next step? Because the one who keeps moving is the one who truly lives. It is also important to remember that no one is going to come and save you. No motivational speaker, no book, no friend, and no prayer will change anything unless you decide to act. These things can only show the path, walking it is your responsibility. If a person feels satisfied merely by listening and does not act, they are only deceiving themselves. Real change always comes from action, not from words. If today you are standing at a point where your heart feels exhausted, your mind feels overwhelmed, and your soul is asking whether all of this is truly necessary, it does not mean you are weak. It means you have reached a place where weak people never arrive. The question now is not how much strength you have left, the question is what decision you will make with the strength that remains. The most dangerous sentence in life is not, "I have failed." The most dangerous sentence is, "I cannot do this anymore." Because after saying this, a person shuts the door on themselves. But if, one final time, with complete honesty and without excuses, a person tells themselves, "I will not stop," that single sentence can change their destiny. This writing, these 6 parts, and all these words are not meant to create magic. They are meant to remind you of one truth. Life is difficult, the road is harsh, time is ruthless, but giving up is still a choice. And the moment you change that choice, the game begins to change. In the end, remember one thing that should stay with you for life. The world will not judge you by how many times you fell. The world will judge you by how many times you stopped. And if, after coming this far, you have decided that even if the pace is slow, even if the circumstances are harsh, even if the path is lonely, you will keep moving forward, then believe this, you have not lost. Because the one who stopped, lost. And the one who kept moving until the end, is the one who won.